a co-box. You'll even maybe work harder, work better to see that the core samples integrity is maintained. So we are so much interested in taking the plastics away from the society, eradicating the menace that we have, and turning it to a very useful material, or as the people say, from garbage to gold.
That product, as I had mentioned before, is going to be the first to be manufactured in the whole of Africa, if I'm not wrong, because it is made purely from recycled plastics. And imagine, most of the drilling contractors that we are targeting operate not only within the country, but also within the wide region of East Africa. So we are actually sure that when they start using this product, then it will be spreading out very fast. Number two, we have mining companies, especially the underground mining companies. It reaches a time whereby the mineralization actually disappears when you are mining underground. And most of the engineers who are actually involved in this field will agree with me. Therefore, it looks like superstitious. So you really need to know which direction should you move to. So we are saying that mining companies also use them. Apart from mining companies, we also use the civil engineering institutions. As if you go to Madini House, again, you will find them using these boxes. And we can reach them through various ways. We have the forums like Mining Forum, which brought about 400 investors. We can reach them through that method.
So what we are asking from you is only a capital investment of about 4 million shillings. Now, we intend, our ultimate target is to sell 1,500 co-boxes per month. Now, the current price for a wooden co-box ranges between 2,000 shillings and 2,500 shillings. Whether you're buying it or you're making it locally from the wood, the prices will range from in between there. So we have decided, okay, we are producing our superior quality, but then we want to make it pocket friendly. Yeah? So we decided to sell it at 1,700 shillings each, and the total sales amount up to 2.5 million. The expenses in production and maybe transporting the co-boxes to the clients amount up to around 1 million shillings, and the monthly profit we'll acquire from this is around 1.5 million shillings per month as per the targets.
We ask you that you come and join us. And we were really interested to present this idea to you, because we know that you are not just going to sit down and maybe bury your head in the sand.
Right, Anthony Paul, your thoughts on that, please.
So help me understand how this compares to the wooden boxes in terms of handling, in terms of the strength properties. Can it withstand falls like a wooden box? Have you done the testing on that? What about the size and the weight? How do they compare to standard storage racks and standard boxes? Will they work in the normal existing storage system facilities?
Okay, in terms of comparison with the wood boxes are normally very, very fragile. So they can easily break. They cannot be stored in damp places. They'll soak water and then maybe rot. They'll occasionally attract insects, which will rot, and none of these qualities is found in the plastic co-box. The strength is a function of the size, the width of the co-box. Yeah? So we'll know that the drilling contractors usually have different sizes of core samples. So depending on the width, the thickness of the co-box can be varied to meet the strength requirements.
Have you done lab testing on it?
No, we've done calculations based on the basic density of the rocks and the quality, the strength quality we require and the dimensions. We decided to start a pilot program. We decided there are already players in the industry who are doing plastic recycling. So the reason we're asking for the capital requirement is only to buy the molds. To make this plastic co-box, 2 components are required: an injection molding machine and a mold. So there are already many people doing production of recycled plastic equipment or products. So what you're just doing is bringing them a mold and telling them, hey, we're coming with a mold. We'd like you to produce this for us and tell us how much it costs. So we have eliminated like almost all production factors. We're not paying any power or rent, or we're just paying for the commodity.
I'm still not very clear on that aspect of the molds, because you've put in a capital investment amount of 4 million.
Yeah.
this is presumed to be a one-off amount, if it's a capital investment amount, right? So that needs to be clarified on your financials, because that would mean that your profits would either go higher, seeing as you're not spending 4 million every single month, and you're projecting that you'll be selling
1,500 boxes.
1,500 boxes a month.
Yeah.
So that needs a bit more clarity.
The calculations on the profit are not based on the capital requirement. We base them on the total sales.
For any plastic product that's using recycled plastic, I would also hope that it can be reused quite a number of times, more
That's
than the
right.
5 times.
Yeah.
So do you expect the 1,500 boxes to be sold every month if this is something that is reusable quite a number of times?
Since the number of boxes that are actually currently being used are made from wood, then for now, if the program was to begin, then it implies that this number of boxes would be demanded, because majority of the most of the contractors still will be using wood. But if this were to be used, then it means for the start that would be possible. And again, we actually took data from 3 companies. Actually, the 1,500 boxes is really minimum, is like the worst case.
And just to really drive to the answer, indeed, because it can be reused, the opportunity for replacement is lower. So the real market is replacing all the wooden boxes, growing regionally and internationally, and then looking at the opportunities across all the sectors of mining, or all the minerals in mining, exploration, and then also petroleum, and then also water well drilling. There is a huge opportunity in water well drilling for this kind of boxes. So to answer your question, they need to grow their market in terms of not just Kenya, but internationally, and not just mining, but across the extractives.
What is the total addressable market in Kenya?
We did the calculations based on only acquiring 3 companies only. That is 1 large-scale company and 2 small-scale companies. So that is a pessimistic view of about.
Yep, but you know, you are convincing us to give you money.
Yes.
You could tell us who the market is and roughly how much, so that we estimate the total addressable market.
Currently, sir, we have made engagement with most of these contractors, though we were not able to get appointment with some of them. But there are more than 3 contractors carrying out this job. But then, if we were to get these particular contractors, there are so many of them. But these contractors, they operate in mines, maybe in construction works. They operate in so many places. The market is actually wide.
Do you have one customer?
Currently?
Yeah, one.
A promising one.
Eh?
DPI.
Promising one.
No.
We have a promising
I
one.
mean, nobody has said this one I will buy.
You see, you can't go and sell something that you have not yet produced, and then the prototype is a bit thick, so they'd want something a bit thinner,
You
which
know,
is a function of the mold.
In business,
Yes.
you don't say that. I'll be totally scared if nobody has said I will buy this, because the first thing you do is you get just one customer, and then we describe that customer. What is in your total cost component in terms of expenses? What are you addressing?
Only the raw materials and the transportation.
The production, and you don't want to be paid yourself.
And indeed, this gentleman want to be paid. I think they were quite liberal in terms of production and transport, and if I could stretch, they are part of the production crew. So actually their earnings, those expenses you see there, incorporates this gentleman working on a day-to-day basis.
And
Forgive me, Professor, I'm stretching here.
And the office space.
The marketing expenses, the overheads,
They are
certainly
all in production.
they would knock off. I could even call that profit a gross profit, so that in between the gross profit and the net profit, yes, there would be some expenses that are not enumerated there.
Which means your margins are not correct.
The margins are, as far as we are concerned, are such that we have only considered the raw materials. After the raw materials, the transportation costs. After the transportation cost, then also what we'll be using during all this process. So the profit that you are seeing there is the gross profit.
How many molds are you going to buy, and how long does it take to make one of these boxes? How many boxes do you make from a single mold per month?
These cost samples usually vary in size. So we said that we'd actually start off with 2 of the most common core samples. That is, we'd acquire 2 molds for the core box and 1 mold for the lid. The injection molding machine makes 1 core box at approximately 2 minutes. Yeah. 2 minutes, roughly 2 minutes.
We call them core trays in the industry. We get to use them a lot, and we use between plastic and metal core trays. One thing I would like to add to your innovation will be that core trays rarely get reused. So it's not like you can say, I'll have lower margins because they'll get to reuse. Because if you're a mining company, you want to store your core for further studies, and if you get good assays, you want to come back to that core. So core does not get disposed of so that you can reuse the core tray. So trays don't get reused. Also, the tray that you have produced, you have to consider the meterage, because if you are leading a mining company and you want to buy core trays, that tray can hold like 3 meters. And if you're going to do like a drilling program of like 2,000 meters, you don't want 1 tray to hold 3 meters. You want 1 tray to hold between 6 and 7 meters so that you can reduce on the number of trays you buy. And also, your tray, they have to be compatible, because the way core is stored, they are stuck together. So the model you have, I don't think you can stack like 12 trays on top of each other the way it is. So you have to consider that.
Okay, this is just a prototype,
okay.
Which is
you have to consider that you have competitors, and they are metallic core trays, which are a bit cheaper than that. And in Kisumu, actually, where we are based, you will find Juakali people making metallic core trays. So you have to consider that. Also, another final thing will be the way core trays are handled. Usually they are carried manually, so you have to make them in a way that they can be carried easily. So you have to consider all that, but it's a very good innovation, and we currently don't have plastic core trays being produced in the country. So it's a very good innovation.
Thank you, sir. I think you all know that Acacia drilled the most amount of meterage exploration drilling in Kenya last year, if I could say that. That is a fact. It's thousands. I think it was just over 65,000 meters, plus, minus. A lot. A lot, huh? A lot. So, Professor, that is a real customer talking. That is a real customer talking.
Yes.
Samuel has just changed his mind. He will do the 6-meter core box, eh? He's just informed me. So let's talk after this and get this thing going. Evans.
Thank you very much. Mine is really just to expand your market a little bit more and give you an extra customer. As you know, in Magadi, we mine trona, and from trona we manufacture soda ash. And the trona is a natural process that forms and then gives us the raw material. So we have a big issue with sustainability, and therefore issues of environmental conservation. And that then resonates very much with what you're talking about plastics, because plastics and the environment don't go together, especially with disposal. Because we think long term. We think our trona will be there for hundreds of years to come. We think sustainability. We think about environmental pollution and conservation. So because of that reason, we would buy your product if it was competing among its others. But the real potential here is that as the trona forms, it forms in different qualities in different parts of our lake. Our lake is about 164 square kilometers. We'd like to be able to do a 3D mapping of the entire lake and being able to drill cores at 50 meters apart. So we would need hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cores. We've already imported a lot of the drilling equipment. We have about 3 machines now. We plan to import a few more. And each one of these machines will have a 24-hour job, drilling cores. So I think the numbers I saw potentially on your sales figures are probably a small fraction of what we would buy from you.
Hope the Simbas are listening.
Thank you.
We have 2 young gentlemen. I'll call them to come up here and set up. Alvin and Desmond, if you could please come up here and get ready. These 2 young men have set up a major corporation called DESAL. DESAL Corporation, standing for Desmond and Alvin, of course. And this corporation is looking to manufacture, to produce locally gas detectors, and specifically hydrogen sulfide gas detectors. And I know you're all asking, what is hydrogen sulfide? Or at least a number of you are asking. So they will explain to you what hydrogen sulfide is, where it occurs in the extractives process, and why it is a lethal gas. It's a lethal gas. So they have a detector. They will show us the little prototype they have here and all the wonderful things we need to know for us to invest in their corporation. So Alvin, Desmond, karibuni sana. Let's give them another warm round of applause.
Today we are here and we'd like to welcome you into our virtual reality company.
Mentally, I want you to picture that you're in the diesel corp industry. And in our industry, we do love safety. And one of our safety measures is that we try to make everything digital, fast, very reliable. So I'd like to ask everyone to please take a few moments to please put your phone on before we continue. This is so because we had a sit down, and because we do love safety, one of you has been chosen to be our safety officer in this industry. So you might just be receiving that life-saving phone call, failure to which all of us are dead by the end of this. So please, ladies and gentlemen, take that very seriously. Put your phones on.
And we are here today, ladies and gentlemen, not only Kenya, but also Africa, moving into an interesting phase of life, which is mining, geothermal development. Generally, we are moving forward into a future that we have in our heads. But then as we take a journey, a step into this mining of coal, when you go into geothermal plants, oil and gas industries, we get what we want, but we not only get that. At times you get small doses of death without realizing, or at times we realize it, but we do take it as a matter of, Kenyans, we have that habit. We have that habit, thank you. We have that habit of saying, it's not something that is going to harm me. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring to your attention this deadly gas that is responsible for the highest number of gas deaths globally in workplaces. Ladies and gentlemen, this is hydrogen sulfide that we are talking about.
Let me just ask a random question. Who has ever been in a place whereby we have a rotten egg?
Anyone?
Thank you, ma'am. So that smell that the rotten egg produces is the same characteristic smell